Hi, this is Jody. Today I'm in the house with Angelic Tarasio, author of God's Miracles in the Lives of Regular People. And it's a trilogy, and we're going to talk about all three of her books, and I'm so excited to be here because they are absolutely award-winning novels. How are you today?
I'm doing all right.
You look beautiful, as usual. This face is just magnificent to me. You're angelic looking. I don't know if you've ever heard that before.
Too far from being angelic.
You do.
I try to.
I know. I was like, I wonder if I can put on angelic when I do the interview. But anyway, I'm glad to be here, and let's start by talking about your wonderful books. You just finished your latest one.
Yes.
And when did you complete that one?
So that was just a month ago. It went to publisher and printing, and it took 13 years for 3 books to be published.
Okay, it took 13 years. So when you started, how long did each one take? A different amount of time?
So the first one was written actually for 7 months. That was the first.
Okay.
Because the data that I received from my mother-in-law was not that large as I received for the second book and for the third.
Oh, so so originally you received all of her diaries and all of her information on paper.
It's very interesting how she dated, how she fixed all the events. So date, time, and 1-2 lines what happened today.
Okay.
That was record of whatever was going with her and somebody else in her life. Then, when she knew that we are immigrating to the United States, and that's the only country where I could publish her journals.
True.
She was sitting a month with me before we departed, explaining every event in her journal. She saw how I was excited and how I was touched, and probably that was the only reason that out of 3 children, she wanted me, daughter-in-law, to write a book.
Well, you're a teacher.
A teacher, yes, and her children for a long period of time, they did not want her to write the journals. It was very dangerous in the Soviet Union. What she did, she cut the notebook.
Okay.
And in thin part of that notebook, she recorded whatever she needed to record.
Okay.
And then, when I met her, I did not know even that something was written, that something happened like this in her life, because she was always happy, she was always smiling, she was always so light inside and out, that nobody could imagine, who did not know her life, that she underwent, under whatever, all these circumstances.
You think she didn't want to burden anybody? Or she was just afraid to talk about it?
First, she was afraid. Second, she did not want to put that weight on somebody. I was 30 when I started to read her journals, and I must say, even the short record, that affected me psychologically, emotionally.
Sure. So there was a lot of sadness throughout all of it. Was there any joy?
Yes, there was joy, because still her child was born in prison and he survived. That was a big joy. Yes, he spent 10 years in prison with his mother. But he survived.
Wow.
Then, when she and her husband met each other after 2 Gulag camps, so again, that was a big joy. Then the second child, my ex-husband, was born. So again, that was joy.
Right.
So that was her life in family, in people, in work. She was a physician, and when she helped other people, she always said, if you want to be happy, make anybody happy.
I agree
That
100%.
was really nice teaching.
And also, another thing that also probably helped her is, I always tell people when you're sad or blue or angry or mad, always put on a happy face, because you'll
works.
attract happy people. And if you walk around miserable, you'll attract miserable people, and you won't get out of that rut.
You are right, Jody. 100%.
And that's probably was
And
her
another
mentality.
treatment, she believed. She believed in God's presence.
A higher power.
And she knew one thing, that if that obstacle is on her life path, she has to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And she will be supported. She never gave up.
No.
To my mind, whatever she did in her life with 3 children, being persecuted, being hunting, so how could person mentally survive?
Now, when this all took place, how old was she when it first began?
40s. When it started, so when she came back to Ukraine, she was in her 30s.
In her 30s, okay.
And then when she was out of prison, she was 40. And then until she met the president of the country, Leonid Brezhnev, she was in her 43. So she was a young woman.
Right.
She lost 2 husbands already by that time. And she knew that they were killed by KGB. Mm-hmm. She knew that. But listen, that was the country, and that was the socialist life. Mm-hmm. And nobody could prove.
Are there many stories like hers?
Oh yes, that's what she wrote in her journal, and that's what I put on the paper. Because to tell you the truth, I am from absolutely different type of family. My parents were military officers of the Soviet Union. No God for sure, and no trust to anybody, and definitely no compassion. They did whatever they were ordered to do.
No questions asked, no conscience, no right.
That was different, and when I consider that it was like a miracle for me, the woman from that dark world, when I was married to the son of the person who was light by itself. So definitely it was a miracle.
So the first book, the second book took longer.
Yes, but the third is the
third,
longest.
It was the longest. And how long did that take?
It's about the first, the second I have finished in 9 with publishing, 2009.
Okay.
And from 2009 to last year, actually,
wow.
I was writing, but I was writing with big stops. Why? Because that was family rearrangement. And my daughter's surgeries, one after another, when we got in car accident. Mm-hmm. So I spent more time in the hospital. I took my computer with me, but the spirit was not there. I worried so much. She was in critical condition, my child. So definitely Mama was for her.
You can't do it. Yeah.
Yes, I could
that
not
was not the time.
focus. I could not concentrate. The book that I was writing, it is historical book with the facts that I did not believe even the records. I needed to check all the data and to be sure that I'm giving the right date. I'm giving the right data to the world.
Okay.
Then, when I was writing the third book, a lot of archives I had to go through, and thank God that Putin opened them. and we can get the data now.
Oh, you are?
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
So it's much easier than when you first started.
Right.
Okay.
My mother-in-law certification that her imprisonment was
Authenticated.
accepted like mistake.
Oh,
So,
wrongfully jailed.
That
imprisoned.
was something. Yes, she was not in this world already, but I received the document.
10 years she was there.
10 years for nothing. Nothing left from
Well,
her
what did they?
husband.
What did they tell? What when they arrested her? What did they say? I mean, what did
They did not say anything. The only thing they requested, she was not supposed to step to the French embassy and explain to them that she is a citizen of France. That was the only request of KGB. They gave her another name. They gave her another dates of birth, even for children.
Really?
They changed everything. The data was fabricated in the way that nobody could find that Countess Marie. Countess Marie disappeared.
Wow. And what was the reasoning behind doing that?
So they knew that they did wrong.
Wrong. Okay, so they didn't want her to find
Yes, they did not want
her.
anybody to
Found
find
her.
her.
Okay.
So thank God that they did not kill her.
Were people dying there?
Yes, in prison, that's every day, hundreds, it's not even tens, hundreds of people.
So
They could not survive.
do you think that she survived because she was a nurse or a doctor?
She was a doctor.
She was a doctor. So did she
physician.
work as a physician?
No.
There, she didn't practice at all?
She practiced as a surgical nurse in concentration camp hospital.
Okay.
But then when she was in Gulag, nobody wanted her as a medical personnel. They kept her in mines as all the rest of the people. But God was merciful, she said. Every time they were there and she could find a big raw piece of gold that she could bring, chip off and bring double portion per day, and she had breastfeeding of her son. So they allowed, if you bring double portion. So,
see, God works in mysterious ways, and everything
Exactly.
happens for a reason. You know, it was a hard road, a very hard path, but she's a survivor and a fighter, and she had it within her. And God gives us what we can handle.
that's why it was very interesting when we met in our life. And she knew that I'm from dark world. She could see it. And she never said, you have to pray, or you have to read the Bible, or you have to do that. Never.
No.
She was doing it. And then one day when we had unexpected circumstances, tragic circumstances in our family, I started to pray. It was like natural
Right.
thing. My mother hated me for it. My mother considered that I betrayed the family
Why?
because God was not present in her family.
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not at all. And that's why, and it was interesting, her mother, her parents, my mother's parents, they were Jews, and they were praying the whole their life. But on that time, socialism twisted minds of the young generations. And in order to prove that I'm not just Jew who is praying every day, she went in the opposite direction. She was successful in her direction.
Absolutely, she was. She was.
Because the person,
She was a smart lady.
yes, she knew what she wanted from life. That was not good for anybody, but she achieved whatever she wanted. And she tried to prove that your mother-in-law, she went through a lot. And I don't think that God helped her. I did not pray and I achieved more than her. It was not true, definitely not. But that's how she imagined.
Fascinating. You know, it's all perspective, you know, and
Yes. Choice.
everything is a choice.
Choice.
And you know, some people turn to God for a crutch, and some people turn when things just get too much of a burden. And I'm a strong person myself, but when I can't handle anymore, I hand it over to Him, and whatever
Exactly.
will be will be. I work along with Him.
That's
you know,
what
I mean,
she
it's not. I'm
taught.
not going to sit back and go, okay, I'll wait till somebody knocks on my
That's
door.
my mother-in-law. She taught me, you cannot handle it, my dear. If you cannot handle this, give in His hands.
That's it. And then don't stress. You know, keep continuing to do what you do, but they're working behind the scenes, and that's what
That's
she
what I
believed.
did when I saw that my child cannot survive.
Mm-hmm.
And they were keeping her and they were moving her to hospice service with increased dosage of narcotics in order her heart could stop. It's 17. It's not long ago. I said, no way.
Good.
I'm praying here, not for her to die.
Right.
I ask God to intervene and make a miracle. Believe me,
It happens.
everything was done. The helicopter was found, picked her up, took to Gainesville, and God bless that surgeon there. The surgery was done next morning without any complication. She survived.
You know,
That's why I do believe
It's enough to
in
be-
God's miracles.
I do. I absolutely, without a doubt. And you couldn't have named your book anything better than what you named it. You know, and I hope it helps many, many people out there. You know, that
Jody,
there's-
people
are
need to
just
believe
they need to go back
that
to
they are
believing.
not alone, not lost in this
They're
world.
not alone. That's exactly it right there. You know? Until next time, everyone, take care of yourself. There's only one you. Bye.
Bye.